Having talked in the abstract about why or why shouldn't you be moral, uh, let's now kind of turn to thinking about the 7-5, the movie The 7-5, and the situation there. And we really want to address a particular problem here. That is, was there really something wrong that Michael Dowd was doing? Should he have been, in our sense, moral? And I'm going to ask you to discuss it in a discussion section, a discussion board, sorry. But I want you to keep a few things in mind in your discussion and make sure you quite understood the movie. First of all, there was a whole issue about the Molin Commission. The Molin Commission, Molin, not sure how it's pronounced. But it was a commission that was run after they discovered all the corruption in these two precincts in Brooklyn to try to weed out the police corruption. And they made some interesting points about it. And in fact, some of the testimony you saw was Michael Dowd himself. It was a documentary. That was the guy who was talking about what he did. But they raised a couple of issues. They raised an issue: did you have any integrity training? You know, that is, the first question is sort of, well, did you even have an idea what you were supposed to be doing and why it was important to do it? The question, why should it be moral, kind of comes in there. I'm not sure if that really answered any questions, but at least that was a question was raised. If you notice, they asked him a question about being what was his concept of being a good cop, which was not necessarily what a cop who was doing the morally right thing. In fact, sometimes it seems that he thought that lying and just backing up your partner, even if it requires lying, was the right thing to do, which certainly doesn't accord with what we think about mostly when we're thinking about what's the right thing to do. Another big distinction that you have to keep in mind is the difference between an action's being illegal and it's being immoral. Let me give you an example of an action that would be illegal but not immoral. Let's go back to the 1860s before the Civil War. Certainly, regardless of what position you take on it, there were occasions where it was certainly the right thing to do to help slaves escape from their owners in the South. Let's take the worst case. There was some really brutal slave owners in the South torturing these people, threatening them, etc., treating them extremely poorly to the point where their lives were in jeopardy. While it might have been illegal to have helped them to escape, it was certainly not something that you would say was an immoral action. Similarly, there are a lot of things that are immoral that are not illegal. Certain kind of minor cheating on exam. It's an immoral action, but it is certainly not illegal. There are a lot of examples of things that are illegal but not immoral, immoral but not illegal. So we want to keep the distinction. In this class, we're not concerned with what's illegal so much as we are concerned with the idea of right and wrong, morality. Make sure when you're talking in your discussion board and thinking about the discussion board, trying to explain what, should he have been moral, should Dowd have been moral, that when we talk about things that might pay off or that might be goods, make sure you keep clear the distinction between intrinsically good things versus instrumentally or extrinsically good things. The idea is intrinsically there's something in and of itself that makes the action good. Instrumentally means it's good for a purpose. It accomplishes, it has a certain good consequence. And make sure you're clearly explaining that. And you ought to talk about what would have been the moral way for Dowd to behave. And in fact, you might want to give some examples of some of his actions. I want you to keep these in mind when, and let me just hop over there. Okay. Because here at the end, I am going to ask you to do assessment number 15, which specifically asks you to relate our discussion and what we've learned about the whole question of why be moral with the Plato's ring of Gyges and how it how you might apply it and perhaps apply reasoning in both cases. With all that, go in, think about it, and remember, it's an important piece of advice. You can take some notes, write it down, plan what you're saying, but remember, it's think first, plan it out, then write it down and act. You might even want to give yourself a little, put a little outline of the points, or even just number the points that you're trying to make in support of this.